Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
It has been a much more pleasant day here weather-wise in St. Louis as the Reds wrap up this three-game series. A win tonight would give them a victory for the first time in a long while here. We'll talk about that more in a moment. And would give them a split of this six-game road trip. Reds and the Cardinals here on Fox Sports Ohio. And on a pleasant Wednesday evening, everyone, and welcome to Reds Baseball. Jim Kelch along with Chris Welsh. We mentioned that the Reds have not won here in a long time. Chris, you have to go all the way back to 2011. That's 9 series ago since the Reds were able to get out of St. Louis with a series win.
Well, you know, I'm not so sure that the players know it's the exact numbers right here. All they do know, though, is every time they come to St. Louis, they leave the field with their tails between their legs. In a series, another one lost. So there have been some players that have been around here long enough to remember the beatings that the Cardinals have given the Reds here. Maybe tonight this will be the start of something new. They turn the tables on the Cardinals and win 2 out of 3 and get out of town.
Well, since that series win in 11, they've had 3 other chances to get a series win here, meaning they went into the finale at 1-1 and failed to do so. So let's hope it happens here tonight. Meanwhile, we know this. If they're going to get a win tonight, or even if they don't get a win, Joey Votto is going to be on base because lately that's what Joey Votto does.
Well, I mean, Joey Votto seems to have come out of the All-Star break with a real mission. I really believe that Joey Votto was a little bit embarrassed by not being on the All-Star team when it was being hosted by his hometown, and he probably got his act together over the break and said, you know what, nothing is going to stand in my way. I'm going to show everybody that I am the elite player that they thought I was when they signed me to a big deal, and he has come out of the gate, I mean, smoking hot since the All-Star games. You see all those numbers right there. He's the toughest guy to get out in all of baseball right now, and this is what he has done to raise his average to where it is.
Yeah, from the All-Star break until now, look at the numbers there. Just incredible raises for him.
Well, only in 12 games, too. I mean, so every time you turn around, he's on pace. But he needs a little support. This is a team game. Can't be only Joey Votto, but he's leading the charge right now. Maybe he can get a couple of his teammates to join in tonight.
Now, what does he think about it? Let's hear from Joey Votto and Brian Price on the way Votto is playing.
It's phenomenal because it's not just the base hits. It's laying off tough pitches, fouling off tough pitches to get a pitch that he can handle and do something with. And that's been great, as you saw today, just shoveling that ball out there to left field for a double. Facing a tough lefty who's given us a ton of trouble in Jaime Garcia and hitting the 3-run homer that was huge. And everything in between. So it's been a great run, and I think everyone's getting a chance to really appreciate the fact that Joey's back.
It's improved, yeah, and you're always tinkering, working on your game, and you know, we still see stuff, and we're still going to continue to work. But I cannot complain with the recent success.
Yeah, you've reached base. I think it's 36 of your last 51 plate appearances. We've seen that's pretty good.
That's good.
We've seen similar stretches out of you before, but is this comparable to as good as you felt at the plate?
I'm not sure. The results are coming out really well, and that's all I can tell you. I'm going to continue to work on my swing and improving, and you know, that's all I got.
Kind of lopped up Jim Day for a moment when he said, I guess that's pretty good, didn't he?
Joey Votto's never going to be the kind of guy to lay it out there and say, hey, I'm the best. I mean, you hear Brandon Phillips say this kind of stuff. Votto's never going to do that, even though he's one guy who could probably back it up.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, a delve into the pitching matchup for tonight's game. Anthony DeSclafani for the Reds, John Lackey for the Cardinals. Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by your Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good. It's Skyline time. Take a look at the starting pitching for tonight's game. On the red side, Anthony DeSclafani. And Chris, he had a very good start in the thin air of Denver his last time out.
Well, he did, and unfortunately for DeSclafani, he did not get a win in that ball game. In fact, he's winless since his last time out against the Philadelphia Phillies, June the 9th. But those are the kind of numbers that where you pitch really better than the line score shows. He's been like that a lot this year. John Lackey, well, he's been getting the wins. He's got 9 of them so far on the year against 5 losses. He will make start number 375 of his major league career tonight. He is lights out at home, as you can see right there. The Cardinals get him a few runs, and he normally makes them stand up.
All right, should be a good one here tonight. Rubber game in this series, the Reds and the Cardinals from Busch Stadium. When we come back, Jim Day will take a look at the infields of these teams. They're full of power.
Stadium in St. Louis, moments away here on Fox Sports Ohio. I'm Jim Day. Will a long ball decide tonight's game? Because the first 2 games were decided by the home run, starting with Colton Wong, who had the grand tour, if you will, the grand salami on Monday night. This one coming off of Raisel Iglesias. It was the difference in the game. And then last night, Mike Leake pitched a gem for Cincinnati. 8 innings scoreless, followed by Aroldis Chapman with the scoreless ninth. But the difference in the game was Joey Votto's 3-run home run. Joey Votto, the hottest hitter in baseball right now, got a pitch he liked off of Jaime Garcia, lefty on lefty, and took it out of here. 3-run home run led to a 4-0 Reds victory. Both of these infields like to produce home runs. Our Elk and Elk storylines tonight brought to you by Elk and Elk. Highest percentage of home runs by infielders this season in Major League Baseball. The Reds, far and away the best. 62% of their home runs have come from the infield. With you got Frazier and Votto on the corners, it'll lead to the stat like that. Phillies, Giants, and then the Cardinals, 60% of their long balls also via the home run. And speaking of Joey Votto, last 15 games, this guy has reached base 2 or more times in each of those 15 games. That's a single season franchise record since 1900 for the Reds. And you look at his numbers over the last 15, 500 average, 17 walks, 2 hit batsmen, and a .642 on-base percentage. He is an on-base percentage machine. And you look at that list, Pete Rose was the last to do it in 1975-76. So if Votto reaches 2 or more times tonight, he will have that record all by himself. Coming up, the Reds trying to break a 4-year drought here in St. Louis. Can they get it done? Find out together on the home of the Reds, Fox Sports Ohio.
Down here on Busch Stadium, a wrap up of this 3-game series, the Reds and the Cardinals. Let's go right to the Reds lineup, brought to you by Meyer. See, it is a very familiar look here tonight. Joey Votto is in the 2-hole. He'll be behind Brandon Phillips. Todd Frazier's third. In the middle, it's Jay Bruce, Marlon Byrd, and Eugenio Suarez. Brian Payne, who does the catching, hits 7th. Then Anthony DeSclafani, the pitcher, bats 8th, and Billy Hamilton will bat 9th. On the mound for the Cardinals is the right-hander, 36-year-old John Lackey.
Might be the best deal in baseball. We'll get into that later on, but he's having one tremendous run of things is John Lackey. 21st start of the year. He's got 9 wins. 15 of the 20 starts that he has made have been quality starts. And he played against Colorado, or pitched against Colorado back on June the 8th, and he gave up 10 runs in 4 innings. And ever since that time out, he has just been lights out. He's 5-1 with a 1.7 earned run average in his last 8 starts. And he's trying to continue what the Cardinals have done really almost on a nightly basis, which is get great starting pitching.
Yeah, they've had the best pitching in the National League, best starting pitching certainly in the National League. And you touched on it in the open, Chris. This guy has been unbelievable, an under 2 ERA here at home.
Well, you know, he's been around for a long time. I mean, he's making a start 375 of his major league career. So, you know, if you would have guessed way back in 2002 that John Lackey would be, you know, in his 14th year as a major leaguer when we get here into 2015, well, you would have been an awfully good scout. I don't think a lot of people thought that. But he's deceptive. He misses some bats. Most of all, he misses the sweet spot.
Well, he gets the Reds here tonight with Brandon Phillips stepping in to lead things off. First pitch is in there for a called strike, and this, the 99th game of the 2015 season for the Redlegs, is underway. Phillips had his 9-game hitting streak ended here last night. Backhand pick by Piscotty and all over the pitcher Lackey covering, and that's the way this game gets started. That will be Joey Votto. Joey is our IGS bringing the energy feature for tonight. Highest National League average since the All-Star break. Minimum 8 games. There's Votto at 561. Gerardo Parra at 432. But Joey Votto leads the major leagues and or the National League in almost every offensive category that you can put out there since the break. At 561 average that he has since the break is the best 12-game stretch in all of the big leagues this year. Last night he was 3 for 3, on base 4 times. In this series, on base 7 of 8 times. On this road trip, on base 15 of 21 times at the plate. Lackey quickly gets ahead. And on 3 pitches, Votto shows that yes, he is human. He can be retired, and he is there on 3 for a strikeout. Take a look at the Cardinals defensively behind John Lackey, brought to you by your Ford dealers. They line up as follows: Holiday, Grichuk, and Hayward on the outfield. Infield is Carpenter, Peralta, Wong, and Piscotty. Battery of Lackey and Molina. Grichuk gets the start in center field. He has been out the last 2 days with some discomfort in his groin area that occurred in the game on Sunday against Atlanta. Set out the first 2 here, back in there tonight. Reds seeing John Lackey for the 2nd time this year. He was the pitcher in the first game of the series in Cincinnati during that opening homestand of the year back on the 10th of April. Reds won that game 5-4. Lackey in that one allowed 4 runs in 6 innings. Those 4 runs all accounted by Joey Votto when he hit 2 2-run homers against Lackey in that game. Now he gets Frazier here on 3. He mows through the Reds in inning number 1 here tonight. In order now, the Cardinals come calling against right-hander Anthony DeSclafani. Here's the lineup that he will face tonight. Put forth by Mike Matheny. Wong, Carpenter, and Holiday. Peralta, Hayward, and Molina. Grichuk back in there in center field, batting 7th. Piscotty, his 2nd start of the year at first base. John Lackey pitches and bats 9th. Anthony DeSclafani, start number 20 tonight.
Well, start number 20, he had 5 last year, but he still qualifies as a rookie, and he's a young man that pitched 7 innings for the first time since June the 4th when he last pitched in Colorado. And you can really see some signs with DeSclafani of a breakout. You know, there are games in which he pitches way better than the ultimate numbers, but right now he's pitching just good enough to lose. And the Reds would desperately like to win this ball game, and he, of course, would like to get a W on the board, too.
Well, you talk about his last victory coming on the 9th of June at home against Philadelphia. Since then, He has made 7 starts, 0-3 with 4 no decisions, and in some of those he certainly pitched well enough to win.
Well, he's been good on the road, though, recently. I mean, since that last win, as you said, his earned run average on the road is 2.5. So get him away from Great American Ballpark, and he pitches with a little bit more confidence.
Well, he faces the Cardinals for the first time in his career as a Cincinnati Red. First start ever against them. He made a 1-inning appearance last year down in Miami against the Cardinals out of the bullpen. They get a chopper here. Then Phillips will barehand and throw. Votto digs it out of the dirt with a backhand, and Wong is out. A good defensive play to start this game.
Well, you don't have to wait too long to see something fancy out of Brandon Phillips. I mean, he provides you with entertainment really every time a ground ball goes to the right side of the infield. Barehanding that to get the speedy Wong.
So the leadoff man gone. The batter will be Matt Carpenter, the third baseman of this Cardinals club. Starts tonight at 2:52. He has a couple of hits in this series thus far. This guy has always been a Reds killer. This year, 375 with a couple of home runs against Cincinnati pitching. Left side of the infield plays him to pull the ball. Cheating up the middle is Suarez. Way off the bag at third is Frazier. And calling the balls and strikes tonight is Mike Muchlinski. His umpiring mates, Mark Wegner, the crew chief at first, Marty Foster at second, Dan Iassogna at third. Reds will make one more visit here to St. Louis. That'll be in September. Monday the 21st through Wednesday the 23rd. 3 night games as part of the back end of a road trip that takes them to San Francisco, to Milwaukee, and then to St. Louis. A 4-pitch walk issued by DeSclafani gives the Cardinals the first inning base runner. Take a look at the Reds defensively now. Brought to you by your Ford dealers. Bird, Hamilton, Bruce across the outfield. Frazier, Suarez left side. Phillips, Votto right side. DeSclafani caught by Brian Pena. Batter is Matt Holliday. And the first pitch of ball. So 5 in a row out of the strike zone by this 25-year-old native of New Jersey who pitched collegiately in Florida. Short lead by Carpenter. Holliday, who missed 31 games this year with a quad injury. Now at 1 ball and 1 strike. Only 4 home runs for Carpenter this year, and that is way off the pace that he normally sets in a year. His career average, 27 home runs a year. He's had 9 straight years of 20 or more. Fouls this one away. Got off, of course, that terrific on-base start. Reached base. 45, the first 45 games that the Cardinals played this year, he reached base. There's a good comparison of what he has done the last couple of years and where he stands right now. Get an out at second, and they will not get an out at first. There's not much on that throw at all from Brandon Phillips, with Carpenter bearing down on him at second base.
Well, Carpenter's going to play hard. He always does. This ball's just not hit hard enough to be really a good double play ball. I mean, that's about as much as you're going to see out of Holliday going down the line. And did he hurt himself? And never touched the bag, and the Reds appealed on a continuous appeal, and they got the out.
So the Cardinals lose the base runner to the double play and probably lose Carpenter now. It appeared to be a calf type injury when he came up short at first base there, limping. So the inning comes to an end. We'll move to the second here at Busch. Go back to that play at the end of the bottom of the first inning. Watch what happens here with Holliday.
Well, he pulls up lame. As you see, something happens with his right leg. He starts to hobble on that, and as he goes by the first base bag, he never touches it. So the Reds are alert enough to see that. I mean, he's going right into the dugout at this point. Falls down on the ground or on the floor of the dugout. He ends up walking down the steps under his own power. But he's out of the ball game. And the Cardinals, who have been hit with the injury bug as hard as any team out there, looks like they're going to lose that big man there for a little while.
Well, I mentioned that Holliday had missed 31 games earlier this year with the right quad injury. Came off the disabled list right after the All-Star break, and here it is 2 weeks later. Appears he has had more issues, so we get a report. We'll certainly pass it along. Meanwhile, the Cardinals have moved Stephen Piscotty from first base out to left field, and Mark Reynolds is taken over at first base.
You know, timing is everything, and I hate to speculate on what's wrong with Matt Holliday. I mean, really, hopefully nothing. But if he is injured, and you have a little bit of time left before the trading deadline, and the Cardinals already are looking for a first baseman, that they may, be all of a sudden into the outfielder market, if depending on what the early diagnosis on Matt Holliday is.
It's funny you bring that up, because I was kind of thinking the same thing. They're looking at, among others, Adam Lind, someone to play first base, and Holliday goes down. They have Jay down already. All of a sudden they could find themselves in the marketplace. Cardinal general manager checking things out from his booth. Mind, I'm sure, just racing in all different directions now. Bruce to center. Grichuk back. Grichuk near the wall. Grichuk can't get it. Home run, Jay Bruce. Straight away center field. Randall Grichuk gave it a good effort out there. Did he mistime the jump? We'll maybe check it when we see it again. But it just eludes the glove of the Cardinals center fielder. Jay Bruce gets his 17th home run of the year. And the Reds have taken a 1-0 lead.
Well, Bruce hit it high. And the question is, did he hit it too high and not get enough distance? And Grichuk just right there at the wall. Just can't get up high enough to get it.
Yeah, just couldn't quite get it. So Bruce hits his 17th. The 199th of his career. So he's now just one away from becoming the 9th player in Reds franchise history to amass 200 home runs in his career. Number 199. His second of this road trip, and a 1-0 Reds lead. Marlon Byrd quickly in the hole, 2 strikes, and on 3 pitches he is a strikeout victim. Number 3 for Lackey.
Yeah, and every one of the strikeouts that Lackey has had have come on 3 pitches. He got through the first inning throwing a total of 8 pitches, all of them strikes. Gives up a home run to Bruce, but comes right back with a 3-pitch strikeout of Byrd. I mean, the key to Lackey is essentially throwing strikes. I mean, he just comes out one after another. If you look him up and you find out which are the pitching leaders in that category of first pitch strikes, Lackey is always in that group. He is now 36 years old, a one-time All-Star when he won 19 games for the Angels.
Well, this is a big game pitcher, Chris. I mean, you're talking about as a youngster pitching in the deciding game of the 0-2 World Series against San Francisco. Game 7 he starts. And he comes back 11 years later, 2013, pitches the deciding game for Boston against these Cardinals, which Boston wins. And then they get him last year in a trade, and he works a couple of playoff games for them last year. Grichuk a play on this ball for out number 2. Borges has played center the last 2 games in this series for St. Louis. John Jay, of course, on the disabled list with a wrist injury. Grichuk gets a start out there tonight. I mentioned earlier that he has sat out the first 2 games of this series with discomfort in his groin area. Felt that running in the game on Sunday here against the Atlanta Braves. Ryan Pena with 2 out and a run in. Ryan started the game here on Monday. Did the catching for Raisel Iglesias. Went 0 for 4. That snapped a modest 4-game hitting streak for him. He'll send it into center field. Grichuk has a beat on it, and the inning is over. So 3 in a row after the home run, but this blast by Jay Bruce, 199th of his career, put the Reds in front.
Last start for Mike Leake in a Reds uniform. If so, it was a dandy. 8 innings pitched, 4 hits, no runs, struck out 3 batters through 95 pitches. And after the game, a very candid interview, admitted that it's on his mind.
It's all I can really think about, but I mean, I knew for 3 hours or however many hours I was going to pitch, I knew that I had to be committed to pitching. I mean, it's my job, and it's not my job to worry if I'm going to get traded or not. So, in my spare time, I was worrying about it, but when it came down to pitch, you got to put it out of the mind.
And guys, Mike admitted to me that he's like us. He's following Twitter, following the internet, looking at all the rumors, trying to figure out what lies next for him in his life, whether it be staying as a Red or moving on. And I felt last night he was just very, very open, and unlike interviews that he's done in the past, he said he's growing up.
Love the fact, Jim, that he said it's all I really think about, but it's not my job to worry about those things. It is my job to pitch, and yeah, it's refreshing to hear him open up like that. Victory last night was his 4th in a row, his 9th of the year. Giving the Reds this opportunity presents itself tonight to win this series following his splendid performance on the mound last night. Phillips makes the play on that. Looked like that ball skimmed off the side of the mound to Brandon. Apparently that did hit the glove of the pitcher, DeSclafani. It goes down as a 1-4-3 put out at first base against Johnny Peralta. And now it's Jason Hayward. Did not start last night out in right field, in deference to the fact that he was over 13 lifetime against Mike Leake. So what did he do when he did get in the game as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning against Leake? He doubled to right, his first career hit against Mike. Comes into the game at 280 with 9 home runs.
That's a good spot to tie Hayward up. The hit he had last night was the pitcher was down and out over the plate. He really attacks the ball that is down in the zone. He's one of these kind of typical left-handed hitters that you always hear about, but you don't see that many, that he really likes that ball down. That ball just kind of tied him up because of the height.
Only Cardinal in their lineup tonight that has faced DeSclafani before is Colton Wong. Wong faced him in that game last year when he was with, talking about DeSclafani, with the Marlins. He went 0 for 1 against him. So all these Cardinals tonight seeing DeSclafani for the first time. Playing fantasy baseball, MLB.TV serves up real-time highlights and pitch tracking info on your out-of-market fantasy players live or on demand on over 400 devices. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Get MLB.TV today. Second walk issued by DeSclafani. Here's Yadier Molina. Remember, he left the game on Monday. Felt a little ill after taking that foul ball in the first inning off the mask. Frazier at the plate. Perennial Gold Glove winner. He's won 7 straight Gold Gloves in the National League. Yadier Molina. Reds go home, have the Pirates for 4 beginning tomorrow night. This Cardinal club welcomes in Colorado for a 4-game series. Colorado team that now has Jose Reyes playing shortstop for them via that trade with Toronto to center, but easily playable for Billy Hamilton. Back to the bag at first goes Hayward, 2 out. Carlos Gonzalez continues to swing a hot bat for the Rockies. He homered today. How about Troy Tulowitzki in his first game as a member of the Toronto Blue Jays? Struck out his first time. I believe had a home run his next time. Making his Toronto debut.
You're following that pretty close.
Just happened to see it, buddy.
Of course, it'll be Johnny Cueto that'll be pitching against Tulowitzki and the rest of the Toronto Blue Jays, I think, tomorrow night. Will be making his debut for the Kansas City Royals.
For the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm sorry, for the for the Kansas City Royals in Toronto. Yeah, sorry, my mistake. He met the team in Cleveland, so he's familiar with that surrounding anyway. Ryan Pena was talking about that he has dyed his goatee blonde. Did you hear him talking about that?
I did not.
Pena was in the clubhouse, I think it was yesterday, saying, yeah, he talked to Cueto, who sent him a picture. He's dyed his goatee blonde. Different look, different team, different league.
Same rocking chair delivery. It'll probably translate and be just fine north of the border.
The real question about north of the border was discussed on the bus ride over here today. How about Troy Tulowitzki on the carpet up in Toronto?
Oh, you mean on the artificial turf?
Right, yeah.
Is that the last stadium that still has turf?
Well, that combination down in Tampa, but the infield is dirt with the grass. But yeah, what do you think?
I think he'll be fine. good player when he's healthy, that's for sure.
DeSclafani now has a starting first baseman who switched out to left field. Piscotty in the hole 1 and 2.
The walks get you in trouble, and that's what happened here in the first 2 innings. There's 2 innings and 2 walks here for DeSclafani. But he is ahead of the number 8 hitter, Piscotty. He'll chase, but you want to keep it down and away, not up and away. That seemed like a little cross-up right there. It looked like Pena was looking for a breaking ball. It was a fastball, and it looked like it was right there.
And by his reaction right there, Pena didn't get exactly what he thought he was going to get.
What's wrong with that pitch? I mean, the catcher doesn't have to catch it pretty for it to be a strike.
Phillips will flip it on to Suarez. They get the force out at second base on Grichuk. Puts an end to the Cardinals' second. Reds up on the Bruce home run. 1-0 through 2.
Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Remember, tomorrow night, get ready for the game at the Fox Sports Ohio pregame warm-up at the Tin Roof at the Banks. It's your chance to win great prizes and enjoy the energy around downtown on a game night. Party starts at 5 p.m. tomorrow night at the Tin Roof. 1-0 Reds into the third. Pitcher as usual batting 8th for Cincinnati. This is DeSclafani to lead it off. 7 hits for him this year. A plus 200 average at 206. Considered kind of the benchmark for pitchers. He hit 200. Considered swinging a pretty good bat.
You're right. And especially if you can handle the bat a little bit when you need a bunt laid down. But like just about everybody else in this order, Lackey has come right after him with strikes and strikes him out on 3 pitches. That is the 4th strikeout. Each and every one has come on 3 pitches. It's about as efficient as you can get. And you know, when you're 36 years old, I guess you're looking for ways to try to get deep into a ball game without throwing a lot of pitches. One way you do it just like John Lackey's doing it tonight, which is throw a lot of strikes. I mean, there's nothing real fancy about it. Stay on the corners. Make sure they get in the zone.
He gets Billy Hamilton with 1 out. Bunts the ball. This is going to be a pretty good one. This is going to be a base hit. The difference really right there, it appears that Billy got a little bit more distance on that bunt than he sometimes does.
Well, he stayed in the batter's box, and he sold it really well, too. You see, he even had a big high leg kick. The other part of it is that, you know, Carpenter is a good player, really good player, but that might not be his best play. Although he might as well just put it in his hip pocket, because you're not even going to have a chance to get Hamilton on that.
And for his last 15 now, bunting for a base hit. I love the point you made, Chris. He stayed in the box. I hear you talk about it. I hear Brantley talk about it.
Well, a good bunt is worth 2 steps out of the box.
Really getting a big lead over there.
Not an easy guy to steal on. Lackey has given up 3. They have thrown out 1. Of course, that has a lot to do with the guy behind the plate rather than the guy necessarily on the mound. Yadier Molina continues to be one of the best, although his throwing this year maybe not up to what the bar that you normally set for him. Big lead. And a pitch out. You know, when you have a guy with the kind of control of John Lackey, don't be surprised to see back-to-back pitch outs. You don't see him very often, but he would be the type of pitcher they'd feel confident about doing that on if they were sold that Billy Hamilton's stealing on this pitch.
Billy got a good jump. Throw from the knees by Molina is not in time. Billy gets just his 2nd stolen base on this road trip, but his major league leading 47th of the year.
Billy's already into his slide when Molina really lets loose of the ball, it seems like, and there's no way. With the size of the lead that he had there, I think John Lackey just decided, I'm not going to worry about him. I've got to worry about getting the hitters now.
Talked about that last night. He was 8 for 8 at the time, stolen bases lifetime against the Cardinals. Now with this one, 9 for 9. Couple of opportunities now to add to this 1-0 lead. First Phillips, then Votto, and both have done pretty well getting with runners in scoring position. Jam shot towards second base, going to get Billy over to third. That'll be up to Votto. The report from the Cardinal clubhouse, Matt Holliday leaves the game with a right quad strain. That's what had him out for about 5 weeks in June and into July. Same thing reoccurs. Here's Votto. Not have agreed there with Mike Buchlinski. It's no balls, 2 strikes.
One thing Lackey's trying to do is stay up in the zone against Joey Votto. I mean, pitchers have tried just about everything. Early in the year it was low and away. That didn't work. Then they started coming inside. That hasn't worked. But now Lackey's going upstairs, playing good old-fashioned hardball.
Handled by Piscotty. Pardon me, by Reynolds. Votto is out. Inning is over. Red Strand Hamilton at third. Maintain their 1-0 lead. This Saturday, see the Reds take on the Pirates for as low as $12. Plus, the first 25,000 fans in attendance will receive a Devin Mesoraco bobblehead presented by St. Elizabeth Healthcare. For tickets, 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or go to reds.com/tickets. The Pirate series starts tomorrow night. Thursday, Friday, Saturday night game, Sunday afternoon game. Then these Cardinals come in after a day off Monday, so the Reds will play 10 straight games against the top two teams in the Central, St. Louis and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, by the way, played and won at Minnesota today, so they should either be in or be getting close to being in Cincinnati. For tomorrow night's game, they won 10-4 over the Twins, so they will come into Cincinnati having won 3 in a row with a record of 59-41. If the Reds can hang on here, they'd come into town, go into action tomorrow night, only 4.5 behind this Cardinal group. Milwaukee, meanwhile, today lost at San Francisco 5-0. Jake Peavy with 6 shutout innings in that game as the starter. If the Reds could win tonight, they'd add a little bit more separation between themselves and that Milwaukee club, which chases them. Go into today 1.5 ahead of the Brewers.
Well, who would have ever thought we would even be talking in those terms, going back and looking the way the Milwaukee Brewers started the season? Didn't they start like 0-7?
They were terrible, yeah. Led ultimately to the firing of Ron Brennick. Just as a reminder, as you enjoy tonight's game, we look forward to passing along a little bit later on our Miller Time moment of the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Here's Colton Wong. Wong retired by Phillips on a nice defensive play to start the Cardinal first inning.
Just got a note, good note from our statistician Mitch Smith here in St. Louis, who reminds us that the Milwaukee Brewers started the season with 3 wins and 15 losses. So they've come a long way, even though they were still well under 500.
As Joey Votto would say, is that good?
I don't know. He's never said that to me. I would say, yeah.
He said it to our good friend.
I would say that's really good. And so is that slider that he gets Wong to chase down in the dirt. Back-to-back strikeouts for Anthony.
Now, Joey said, is that good to Jim Day? He was, of course, being facetious when Jim said you've been on base 36 of your last 51 times up. I say it to you. It's
no, I would have said if I'm Jim Day. No, I think it falls into the line of great.
Yeah, there you
Joey.
go.
Actually bordering on unbelievable. Astonishing.
I think it stunned Jim a little bit.
Hard to do to leave him speechless.
Sclafani has walked 2, struck out 2 so far in this one. One of the walks of this man, Carpenter, back in the first. Falling behind 3-1. Red's going to see tomorrow night, first time All-Star at 38 years old, A.J. Burnett tomorrow night. 3-2. It's David Holmberg, who had some pretty good starts down the stretch last year for the Reds in September. And in AAA this year with Louisville.
I'm not sure what Matt Carpenter didn't like about that pitch. He was totally convinced it was ball 4.
Now he'll get a look at a 3-2 with 2 men out and no one on. Next 2 days big for the Reds organization, big down in Louisville with John Lamb making his debut tonight, one of the 3 left-handers acquired in the Cueto deal from Kansas City, and Brandon Finnegan making his Reds organizational debut tomorrow night. There is ball 4. 2 walks issued to Carpenter so far tonight. Things didn't go overly well, I guess, at the beginning of that game for Lamb, right?
Well, he gave up 3 runs in the first inning, but I understand he struck out the side, I think, in the third. And hey, I mean, you don't judge a trade by one start, or maybe even 1 year, especially when you're getting prospects back in return. But what it does is really fortifies the top end of the Reds' left-handed pitching minor leagues. Something that they have been woefully lacking. They now have a surplus, or at least up to par.
Amir Garrett was I guess still is, the top prospect left-hander wise in the organization, and he was one of the few though.
Well, he's down in A-ball, which is in Daytona. I think he pitched today, went 5 innings. Garrett did, and he's having a pretty good season for a young man that has not pitched a lot in professional baseball. He was, if you remember him, he's a big, tall left-hander. I mean tall, about 6'6" or 6'7". He was a former college basketball player and a real good one at St. John's.
Reynolds getting his first plate appearance in this game. He took over at first base when Piscotty went to left, replacing Holliday. Again, Matt Holliday left the game with a right quad strain, the same injury that had him on the DL for 6 weeks. That occurred back in the first inning. Bruce going back. He's going to have room right at the edge of the warning track to make the play to retire the side. Well, we're talking up here about prospects in the Reds organization. When we come back, Jim Day with an updated list.
St. Louis. I'm Jim Day. John Lamb has finished in Louisville, and after that rough start, he goes 5 innings, but giving up 3 runs in the first, didn't give up anything from there on out, and struck out 8 overall. Here's the updated list of the Reds prospects. This is according to MLB.com. Jesse Winker, your #1 prospect. Robert Stevenson, great night last night. Then Amir Garrett, #3. And those guys are in the top 100 as far as overall MLB prospects. Then you got Tyler Stevenson. He was the catcher drafted this year. Nick Travieso, Alex Blandino, a first-round pick last year, or a high pick last year. Blake Tran, Cody Reed, number 8 on that list after coming over that trade from the Royals. But those lists are very, very subjective. And it's all what you do once you get to the major league level. But the Reds, as you said, restocking their minor league system, and now they are pitching rich.
Yeah, you look at other lists, and they'll have Robert Stevenson as the number 1 prospect. Intriguing name on there is the infielder Alex Blandino.
Yeah, I have not heard one scout tell me anything negative about that young man. I mean, everybody's just raving about him. Saw him play a little bit in spring training. But you really can't tell a whole lot by watching those guys play down there in the month of March. Another strikeout for Lackey. That is number 5, but the first strikeout that he's had where it took him more than 3 pitches.
Tell you what, though, you like to see them in spring training. I know what they do doesn't mean a whole lot, but you get a little bit familiar with their game.
You get an idea what they look like and how they handle themselves, and what their moves are if you watch them take infield practice. Yeah, Blandino, who's a shortstop, at least right now he's a shortstop. They say he is the real deal. So that's high praise coming from some of these scouts. So that's about as deep as they get as far as breaking it down.
Interesting, because you have Zach Cozart, who will be back next year, a premier defensive shortstop in Major League Baseball. You have Eugenio Suarez, who's playing shortstop now, who admittedly has had trouble defensively here, but boy, he can hit. Then you have Blandino appearing to be pretty close. Big shift on Jay Bruce, who bats with 1 man out here in the top of the 4th. That's Wong way out in shallow right.
Yeah, that's funny because they did not shift at all for Jay Bruce last night when he faced the left-handed pitcher Jaime Garcia. But with Lackey up there, and primarily a fastball pitcher, Lackey throws a 4-seamer, a 2-seamer, both fastballs, and then his next favorite pitch is the slider. He really does not throw any change-ups at all, maybe 3 a game. And there's the slider.
Bruce puts a pretty good charge into this ball, but Grichuk is going to get it right at the edge of the track. There are 2 out. Time now for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag OhioDataStrongFan. You just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. That's hashtag OhioDataStrongFan. Tweet your strongest fan photo now. Marlon Byrd bats with 2 out. I'm going to talk about the fact that if Mike Leake is ultimately traded from this club, the Reds could be going with a 5-rookie rotation. 5 rookies. They have 4 in there right now with Holmberg, and Brian Price said yesterday this is not a 1-start opportunity for Holmberg. He is in the rotation for the time being. You got DeSclafani, you got Holmberg, you got Lorenzen, you got Iglesias, and you have Leake.
And I think you can say that about all of those guys except for Mike Leake, that they're all in the rotation for right now. But if you've got enough others knocking at the door, you better pitch well to stay here.
Bird strikes out for the 2nd time. That's 6 of them now by John Lackey in this game. Find more for a healthier you at Meijer. And by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the country on U.S. News and World Report's Best Children's Hospital. 1-0 Reds in front on the power of the Jay Bruce home run in the second. Anthony DeSclafani back to work. He gets Johnny Peralta to lead it off. First pitch swinging and a ball in the air that's going to be handled by Jay Bruce. So Johnny Peralta continues to struggle. He's over 10 in this series and now 1 for his last 22 on what has clearly been the most struggling part of this team this year for the Cardinals, their offense.
I don't hear too many Cardinal fans complaining about the offense, not when they end up putting wins on the board the way they do. 64 wins, the most in all the major leagues. Only Kansas City has more than 60. They've got 61. Everybody else is stuck in the 50s. So the Cards and the Royals are trying to lap the field in wins.
See, they have 3 everyday players now out with the addition of Holiday again tonight with Jay out. There's a smash in the left and a hit for Hayward. Holiday out, Jay out, Adams out.
Yeah, the Cardinals, I guess the team is a great example of the sum of this team better than the individuals on it. Because if you go and you start comparing the Reds on paper and the Cardinals on paper, you're going to have a hard time. I mean, if you're a Cardinals fan, you probably have a hard time saying which has a better team on paper. If you're a Reds fan, you're thinking, well, these Reds players, I mean, with the names that are here and the seasons that they have had, they're better players overall. Of course, the Reds lost some starting pitching, and for some reason it has never really gelled the way it has with the Cardinals. They lose a key player and then they go out and win 10 in a row.
Throwing his bat at that ball and a foul. Did that get Pena?
I think the bat did get Pena, and it would normally be catcher's interference if you swing and in the process of a normal swing you hit the catcher's mitt, but he throws the bat right here. He ought to be out for interference.
And that's what Brian Price.
You cannot throw the bat.
Appears to be talking to about that particular play with Mike Maczlinski. Yeah, he threw the bat at the ball.
I know you're not allowed to, if you throw the bat intentionally and it alters the play of a fielder making a play on a batted ball, then you're out for interference. I'm not sure how this interpretation should go, but we do know that Brian Pena was hit on the hand or the glove with a thrown bat.
Take a look at it one more time here.
What are they calling that, a foul ball?
That's what they're sticking with. It's a little surprising that there was not even a discussion amongst the umpires. We were talking today about the lack of arguments anymore in baseball because of replay, but it would seem to me that that would be something that Brian Price might say, hey, at least get together and discuss the situation.
Well, it worked just fine, didn't it?
Sure did. 4-6-3 double play ends the bottom of the 4th inning, hit into by Yadier Molina.
Rangers in a game you can only see on Fox Sports 1. Coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. I'm Jim Day. We're following all these trade rumors, and there are multiple reports out there, including from Fox Sports, that the Brewers have traded Carlos Gomez to the Mets in exchange for Wilmer Flores and pitcher Zach Wheeler. It has not been confirmed by either team, but again, multiple reports out there. The Mets have been seeking an outfield bat, and apparently that bat is Carlos Gomez, which will be a huge pickup for them. And they're kind of rolling the dice, are the Brewers, on Zach Wheeler, because he's coming back from Tommy John surgery. In fact, just a couple of days ago, he threw for the first time, just softly tossed after Tommy John surgery. He reported no pain, so apparently the Brewers feel good enough that he's going to come back from Tommy John surgery, and he was obviously a very good pitcher before he had that TJ surgery.
Well, you would think he would then take over in center field. The Mets have had Juan Lagares playing center. Certainly Gomez adds a different dimension to that New York Mets team, if that indeed turns out to be the case. We also heard today, and it's not official, that Matt Latos may be on the move again.
I thought that was official.
I don't think it last report that thing had become official yet with the Dodgers. Could be a different team now in the mix, also potentially getting involved in that. Meanwhile, really nothing on the rumor front today at all regarding Aroldis Chapman, although those out there that are reporting that Chapman may not go anywhere now. Nothing on Mike Leake, nothing on Jay Bruce. The Angels we had read and heard interest in Jay Bruce, but they apparently have gone with a couple of players from Cleveland. One, David Murphy, Tampa Bay, David DeJesus, to potentially fill the roles that they need in the outfield. Shane Victorino is another one that they have acquired. They got him from Boston 2 days ago, I guess. Pena fly to center his first time against Lackey, who's not walked anyone. He has struck out 6. Gave up the home run to start the second to Bruce, just out of the reach of the center fielder Grichuk. Gave up the bunt single to Billy Hamilton. At that time has retired 6 in a row. Sclafani on deck. Pena draws the walk, first issued by Lackey in this game, and the Reds have a 5th inning base runner. Sundays are family days at Great American Ballpark. Thanks to Klosterman Bakery, you can take advantage of 2 exclusive family ticket offers for every Sunday Reds home game. Plus, don't miss out on kids giveaways, live mascot races, face painters, and much more. Call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or go to reds.com/family for tickets. Bunted in the air by DeSclafani and handled by Yadier Molina.
Yeah, those are the kind of things that we talked about earlier about DeSclafani's batting average hovering over 200, and it indicated that he was a pretty good hitting pitcher. But if you can't do the little things like that, they sometimes cost you a win. 1-run ball game, you're trying to get a runner over to second base. Frustrating to be sure.
Hamilton bats with 2 out. Carpenter in a step or so closer this time than he was the last time. Billy had the bunt hit. Philly on the road trip now has 5 hits, 20 at bats. Trip started with 1 win, 2 losses in Colorado against the Rockies. 1 win, 1 loss here so far. There's a bunt right out in front of the plate. That's what we were talking about earlier. Didn't get it out far enough. Molina handles it easily. Hamilton gone. And the inning is over for the Reds in the top of the 5th. Minutes before every game. That's with Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live is presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. We'll have it again tomorrow night, beginning at 6:30. Game at 7:10. Pitchers for tomorrow night. David Holmberg will make his 2015 debut. He's been down with the Louisville club this year, where he's posted a 7-6 record. A.J. Burnett, All-Star for the first time in his career at 38 years old this year. Good ERA now, but since the All-Star break, he has had 2 starts. Both of them have been bad from a numbers perspective. He'll make a start tomorrow at Great American. First game of a 4-game series. Randal Grichuk leads it off here in the bottom of the 5th. He's hit into center his first time. It's a rarity really for him. Grichuk has more extra base hits this year than he has singles. He has 34 extra base hits, 30 singles. You don't see that very often. Bottom 3 in the Cardinal order here in the 5th. Piscotty on deck, then the pitcher spot. Lackey beat into the ground, and Frazier will make the play.
Let's go back and look at that play again with Yadier Molina throwing the bat and the ball on a pitch out, hit and run. And we thought at first that that bat hit Pena, but it did not. It actually hit the ball. Pena then got hit by the foul tip when it went off his hip. That's when he's rubbing his left side right there. So it was not interference. It was simply a foul ball. Wanted to make sure that everybody understood how that goes.
Knocked down by DeSclafani, but he's going to go a bit too far to get to that ball. And Piscotty is on. So the question, Chris, is if that bat would have hit his glove, you think they then would have called interference?
Well, that would have been a good question, whether it would have been catcher's interference or batter's interference. I would think because Brian Pena was out of the catcher's box. He was standing in the left-handed batter's box when that ball was on the route to home plate because it was a pitch out. That it could possibly be catcher's interference. A very unusual looking play. I'll have the full scoop for you tomorrow.
You will? Come in extra to do that?
I'll have to call you and let you know.
Yes.
Since you're going to be working radio over the weekend, and George Graham will be back and working with Jeff Brantley, the Cowboy.
Right.
In the 4-game set against the Pittsburgh Pirates.
You know, it was hard with a naked eye to see that that ball actually didn't, and the bat didn't hit the glove, but rather the ball. Tough to tell even in slow motion.
Well, I think that's what Brian Price was inquiring when he went out to talk to Brian Pena. What hit you, the ball or the bat?
Lackey trying to do here what DeSclafani was unable to do in the top of this inning. That is, move the runner along with a bunt.
The problem here, though, is that you've got the defense playing so aggressive that you have a chance of running in or bunting into a double play. Lackey's no speedster down the line. I mean, when you have the two corner infielders, Frazier and Votto, charging the way they are, I mean, it really reduces your margin of error for a decent bunt to get a run over. I mean, if you hit it too hard down the third base line, there's Frazier. If you hit it too hard down the first base line, there's Votto.
Votto's going to get it. Fire to second. They get an out. Back to first. Out there, but at second base, they're going to call a safe call there by the second base umpire, Marty Foster, saying that Suarez was off the bag. Now, this is what we talked about the other night with the in the vicinity play.
Well, the determination here has to be whether the throw took him off the bag or not. If the throw took him off the bag, then you don't have the neighborhood or the vicinity play in effect at second base. So I think Major League Baseball calls it a true throw when it's right on the bag and the fielder doesn't have to vacate the bag in order to field the thrown ball.
How'd you see that one?
I think that they're going to call that as is stands on the field because it looked like that throw did pull Suarez off the bag a little bit.
I would tend to agree with you on that. It looked like it pulled him off a little bit to the right, didn't it?
Yeah, the whole idea is, you know, the phantom tag at second base with your foot. They don't want second basemen and shortstops getting run over by runners coming through there. And there have been a lot of major injuries, knee injuries, especially on middle infielders. So they want to make it okay to be around the bag to turn the double play, but they don't want to give you the advantage of leaving the bag chasing a bad throw to turn a double play.
And this is not something that Brian can say, I want an appeal on. If the umpires don't think it was as you said, a true throw, they can simply say, no, it's not a neighborhood play. But you can't challenge the neighborhood play. I think they made a good call.
So how does that score?
We'll have to wait and see it. An error could be given on that.
But you got out one out on the play.
Let's
so
see here.
Not likely an error is going to be given. I go to you. I always defer to you for scoring rules.
It's just simply going to be a 3-6-4 put out at first base. No sacrifice, no error. Does give the Cardinals a chance here with Wong at the plate. They're a base hit away now from tying this game. Wong, the big hit on Monday. 284 this year with runners in scoring position. A shift. He hits into it perfectly up the middle. Suarez will throw him out. Nice defensive placement by the Reds. And they get through the 5th inning with a lead still intact.
Drove in on Saturday, September 5th at the Super Bowl in Erlanger, Kentucky. Log on to Reds.com/bowling for all the details, or you can call 513-765-7240. And you can bowl alongside Brandon Phillips and his teammates. Now, we interviewed Brandon pregame yesterday, and one of the things he mentioned that someday he would like to try the PBA Tour, the Professional Bowlers Association Tour. This guy is a very good bowler. He's got 4 300 games to his credit. Now, we were joking around during the interview, so a lot of people thought that he might have been joking about it, and I've checked with him 3 and 4 times about this, and he is dead serious. When his baseball playing days are over, he would like to see if he can make it as a pro bowler.
Well, I would think that if he wants to do that, he could probably do it because he's very athletic. Has the will and determination of a professional athlete, of course. Wouldn't that be something? You see guys go to baseball. Some guys have gone on to try golf and what have you, basketball. I don't think anybody's gone from baseball to bowling, have they?
Well, he's talented. I mean, 300 games don't grow on trees.
I don't think Earl Anthony was a baseball player before he went into bowling, was he?
You know, even if he doesn't make it on the PBA, he could probably buy his own bowling alley.
Oh, yeah, easily.
And let you bowl there.
A little lanyap for you, a little something extra. The Bowling Hall of Fame, located right here in St. Louis.
I've been to it.
You spent hours and hours going up and down the aisles.
Lackey thought it was a strike, and Votto finally feels like he's getting a little respect on the outer part of the strike zone. He's 0 for 2 and a little changeup. That's the first time we've seen him throw one of those all game. There's a curveball, another rare pitch. Lackey's an interesting guy. If you want to know about, you know, trade deadline deals, it was Lackey that came over here to the Cardinals last year from the Boston Red Sox right at the trade deadline, right on the 31st. They sent Joe Kelly and
Alan Craig the other way.
That has turned out to be a tremendous trade for the Cardinals. So when Lackey gets over here, he's always worn number 41, but the problem was there was a reliever in the bullpen that was wearing number 41, Pat Neshek. So as is customary, you give a gift when one player gives up his uniform number for a more veteran player, in this case John Lackey. Well, John Lackey gave Pat Neshek probably something that he wanted his entire life, because Neshek is one of the most most avid memorabilia and card collectors of any baseball player out there. He just collects all sorts of baseball memorabilia. And John Lackey bought him and gave to him an authentic signed Babe Ruth baseball.
Wow. That's some appreciation right there.
He thought that was a pretty good deal.
And I don't, the guy's name, player's name escapes me, but Johnny Cueto is being given his number 47 in Kansas City, given up by a player that's there already who had the number.
You said it was Romero or we'll find that.
Anybody can find it and find it quickly on the computer. It's you.
Well,
so it'll be customary then for Johnny to give him a gift in appreciation. Molina handles that on the foul ball. Third time the Reds have gone in order in this game. Bottom of the sixth upcoming. 1-0 Reds. An analysis of everything that happened in Major League Baseball today, plus the latest from NFL training camps and the world of sports. Fox Sports Live tonight on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Well, I guess if you're going to do something, do it under a full moon. Those aren't spacecraft, are they? This is, after all, Star Wars night here at the ballpark. Reds trying to do something they've not done since early September 2011. That is win a series here in St. Louis. They've dropped 9 straight series since then. They've had 3 opportunities since that series win in September of 11 to win a series here going into the finale of a 3-game get-together. Once in 2012, twice in 2013. But have been unable to get it done. Here they are to the bottom of the 6th tonight. The slimmest of margins, a 1-0 lead. Carpenter's walked twice, 2 of the 3 free passes issued by the right-hander D. Sclafani. Charge into this ball to left. Bird is at the track and he makes the play. That ball was coming back on him. He adjusted well and hung in there to gab it.
Well, Bird has always been a good outfielder. He has been the opening day center fielder for a number of different teams, including, I think, the Cubs and the Philadelphia Phillies in years past.
Well, a lot of slice on that ball. He played it very well. Here is Mark Reynolds. Reynolds started at first base last night, had a double, was 1 for 3. This is a guy who holds the single season strikeout record. 6 years ago, as a member of the Diamondbacks, he struck out 223 times in 1 year. Looked good off the bat, but Billy Hamilton will handle it. 2 out.
Yeah, that's what you need down in Phoenix in the middle of the summer, don't you? Nice breeze.
223 times that year as a Diamondback, set the single season record. Adam Dunn 3 years later almost broke it. Remember that in 2012? He came within 1. He had 222. Fell 1 short. A couple years ago, we thought Drew Stubbs was going to break that record.
Was that the year the Reds played an extra game and Dunn hit his 40th home run in the 163rd game of the year?
In 2012? I don't know. We'll have to check.
Because of a suspended game? That could have been earlier than that. We talked about that earlier this year.
That's something we can look into easily enough. Peralta bats with 2 out. And it hit Peralta and also caught the home plate umpire, Mike Muchlinski.
Well, Peralta barely got grazed by it. Looked like it just got the front of his uniform shirt, but it was a direct hit on Muchlinski. Right off the left shoulder. Ooh. He's going to be attended to by one of the Cardinal trainers. Hey, what to tell you, though, that we're not quite at a full moon tonight, Jim.
We're not?
But we will be on Friday, and Friday will be a very rare blue moon. So you can talk about that when you're on the air on Friday night.
A blue moon.
A blue moon is simply a definition of when you have 2 full moons in the same calendar month. So this will be the 2nd full moon in July.
I did not realize you were
once in a blue moon.
A weatherman. Into earth science, as it were. So that's where the saying comes from. Once in a blue moon. There is, in fact, a blue moon.
They're trying to get him to make sure that he doesn't have some kind of a serious injury in his arm. Tingling fingers, a little stinger symptoms when you get hit up there around the shoulder and you just can't get any feeling in your hand. It's really remarkable that there are not more umpires that get hurt on foul balls and broken bats. And I mean, because they're back there. A catcher has a chance, of course, but he's only catching half the pitches in a ball game. The umpire's back there for all of them. So, you know, it's usually somewhere in the neighborhood of, you know, close to 300 pitches per night.
And he'll hang right in there.
I'd be really worried if it was a strike calling hand, but it's his left hand he's worried about.
Yeah, we don't want any problem with that. So Peralta aboard. Hayward comes to the plate. Reds trying to throw their 19th consecutive shutout inning against this Cardinal club in this series. When the Cardinals did not score in the 5th, that marked 18 straight innings which they have not scored. And that's the longest stretch of scoreless baseball by Reds pitching this year. Trying to add to it here and keep a 1-0 lead into the 7th. Up the middle again is Suarez. They'll feed on to Phillips. The force out at second base on Peralta does indeed give Reds pitching 19 straight scoreless innings. game summary. This is a first inning injury that occurred to Matt Holliday of the Cardinals turned out to be a double play. Left the game with a right quad injury, an injury that he had earlier in the year. Meanwhile, Anthony DeSclafani has been very, very good tonight. 6 innings of no-run, 3-hit baseball thus far. The only run of the game on this home run by Jay Bruce that led off the second. 17th of the year for him, the 199th of his Reds career. 1-0 Reds into the 7th. That's tonight's Honda game summary. Speaking of, here's Bruce to lead it off. Shift is going to get him this time as Carpenter, the third baseman, shifted toward the second base spot, makes the play with defense straight up. That would be an easy base hit into center, but he's out 5-3 on a ground ball on the right side. Here's Bird. Bird has struck out twice in this game. He's had a tough time on this road trip. 2 out of 16.
Lackey might be the best deal in baseball, and of course the Cardinals knew that when they acquired him last year at the trading deadline. He was at the very end of a 5-year contract of more than $80 million that the Boston Red Sox signed with him in 2009. But in there, that contract, there was a clause that said that if he missed significant time due to an elbow injury, that he would have to play the year of 2015 for the league minimum. Well, when he was traded to the Cardinals, that clause went along with his contract. So this year comes around, and sure enough, along the way with the Boston Red Sox, he missed an entire year because he had Tommy John surgery. I think he missed 2012. And now the Cardinals are the beneficiary of maybe the best deal in baseball, paying John Lackey the league minimum of $500,000 and getting veteran top of the rotation results.
And an ERA that's just out of the top 10 in the NL. Hayward in foul territory, and he got there to make the catch. So the Reds go in order. That is now 8 in a row retired by John Lackey. Stretch time in St. Louis. Girls Clubs of America. Boys and Girls Clubs help young people to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens through programs that promote character and leadership, education, healthy lifestyles, and more. If you'd like more information, visit foxsportssupports.com. Anthony DeSclafani, 6 shutout innings in this game, protecting a 1-0 lead. He went 7 his last time out. That was at Colorado on Friday. Allowed 3 runs in that game, a no decision in a 6-5 loss. He's gone 7 or more innings this year on 5 different occasions, trying to make that 6 if he can get through this 7th tonight. See, his pitch count is really efficient.
Well, he's been, this is only pitch number 82 coming up.
Seth Maness, a right-hander, throwing in the Cardinal bullpen. Cardinals got a base runner here. Lackey is due up 4th. Lackey has retired 8 in a row, 14 of the last 15. But could leave this game trailing. To his left, Frazier. He'll throw out Yadier Molina, who's 0 for 3 in the game and 1 for 9 in the series. And Friday, cheer on your Reds when they take on the Pittsburgh Pirates for as low as $12. Then stick around after the game. Enjoy a spectacular fireworks show presented by PNC Bank. For tickets, 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or go to reds.com/tickets. And again, that's a 4-game series with the Pirates. Friday night, game 2 starts tomorrow night. Saturday night, game 3. Sunday afternoon, the wrap up, and then after the off day, these Cardinals come into town for the 2nd time this year. Grichuk had a base hit in the 2nd, rounded out to Frazier in the 5th. He's 1 for 2.
Good looking young player. Grichuk is only 23 years old. Drafted originally by Anaheim, 1st round pick, 2009.
That has a modified Jason Kipnis bat lay flat up there.
And then he got traded from Anaheim with Peter Borges for David Freese and for Fernando Salas. It's another deal that is looking pretty good for the Cardinals.
That's a foul ball. Foul ball, and it's 2-2. Yeah, it really is, isn't it? Freese, I think, is out right now, injured. Off the toe there. Look how far that ball rolled from bat to shoe and all the way out to Suarez. Got it. Ball was dropped by Pena. They'll put the tag on out there. Strikeout number 3 for DeSclafani. 2 out.
Really fools Grichuk right here. Grichuk must be looking down and away. I think that's exactly right, because that's where Brian Pena was. That ball stays inside and fools batter and catcher, but not umpire.
Cardinals have had just 2 runners get as far as second base in this game. Jason Hayward stranded at second in the 2nd. Piscotty stranded at second in the 5th. That's how dominant Anthony DeSclafani has been tonight.
Well, Leak dominant last night, and really Raisel Iglesias dominant too, except for one bad inning where Colton Wong hit that grand slam home run. And a matter of feet, because on the 3-1 pitch he had a foul ball that just barely went into the stands down the 3rd baseline. That ran the count full. Next pitch he hits a granny.
Piscotty quickly in the hole, 2 strikes. You talked earlier about the fact that DeSclafani's best games this year have come on the road. 3-2 with a 267 away from home, over 3 runs higher at Great American. Mike Leach splits are somewhat similar to that. Johnny Cueto really is the only guy who pitches better at home than he does on the road.
Yeah, I made a mistake. I mentioned that Johnny Cueto will be pitching on Thursday against the Toronto Blue Jays. It'll be Friday for the Royals against the Blue Jays.
Jams Piscotty here. Hamilton is there. 7 shutout innings worth of work for Anthony DeSclafani in this game. One-0 Cincinnati lead. This has been a game with offense at the premium for sure. Only 5 hits total. 2 by the Reds, 1 of those a home run, the other a bunt hit, 3 by the Cardinals. But 20 consecutive innings now that the Reds have shut down the Cardinal offense. And in fact, in this series, the Cardinals have scored in just 1 inning, and that was the grand slam that we were talking about earlier in the 4th inning of Monday's game. The only inning in which the Cardinals have scored in this series. John Lackey back to work. This will be his last frame. That one appeared to touch the glove of the pitcher, and Wong will throw him out. 1 pitch, 1 out. Sclafani's spot is due. Tucker Barnhart has come out of the dugout. Or Skip Schumacher, pardon me. Skip Schumacher, the major league leader in pinch hits, the former Cardinal. Listen to the hand he gets. That's a baseball savvy crowd who appreciates the work that Schumacher put in as an outfielder, as a second baseman on not 1 but 2 World Championship seasons here in St. Louis, 06 and 11.
Well, he spent parts of 8 seasons here, Schumacher did, and played well too. Overall, a .288 hitter.
He bats for DeSclafani, who will go 7, allowed no runs, 3 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. It's a top-notch performance by the young man out of Freehold, New Jersey. Schumacher pinch hit in the 9th inning on Monday and flied out. $13 for 45 as a pinch hitter this year. Talked to him the other day about his approach, and you said you really have to be more aggressive as a pinch hitter. You may not get but one pitch. You don't have another at bat to fall back on. He also said, hey, if I don't succeed at this role, I'm out of baseball. Doesn't succeed this time. He strikes out. Out number 2. Well, as promised earlier in the game, we selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Remember to tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag Ohio Data Strong Fan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. There's tonight's fan photo. Andy. Jam shot behind second, caught by Peralta. Quick and easy of the Reds here in the top of the 8th. But still a 1-0 lead here in St. Louis. DeSclafani is out, but DeSclafani is in the driver's seat tonight. Brought to you by Kia. What a performance he put in. There are his numbers for the evening. He has 2 very good starts, 2 quality starts on this road trip. 7 innings worth of work at Colorado on Friday, which he allowed 3. But tonight, 7 innings of no-run 3-hit baseball against the Cardinals in his first start against his first-place team.
And at home against the Cardinals, too, which is a tough place to beat this ball club. Game not over yet, but DeSclafani, one of the top 3 performances of all year long, he turns in tonight. And now it's up to J.J. Hoover. Game number 45 for Hoover. Having just an incredible turnaround season based on what he did in 2014.
Try to continue the Reds pitching mastery of the Cardinals, not only tonight but in this series. Peter Borges will bat for Lackey, so the Cardinals will have a new pitcher out there come the 9th. Borges at .227 with 2 home runs. He's driven in 11. Started each of the first 2 games of this series. Was hit by a pitch twice on Monday night. Last night went 0 for 3. He was 0 for 5 in this series.
really hard to believe or fathom, for that matter, the turnaround that Hoover has had from one year to the next. Last year he was a 10-game loser. His earned run average was very close to 5. This year his earned run average is close to 2, so he shaved off 3 runs a game. His home runs are way down over last year. He gave up 13 long balls last year, and he has given up 2 so far this year. And all through it all, really, it was Brian Price that never batted an eye in order to lose faith on him. There were a lot of people saying, hey, Hoover's one of those guys that you see a lot in middle relief. He has a couple of good years, and then you fade away and never to be heard from again. But Price didn't want to hear anything of that, and it's a good thing.
You talk about his ERA being right near 2. You take a look just a week ago, his ERA was closer to 1 than it was 2. He's slipped a couple of times here lately against the Cubs at home and against Colorado on the road. Trying to get back on track tonight. That's a good start right there as he disposes of the pinch hitter Borges. Out number 1.
Well, the 8th pitch of the at-bat, it's got to be the longest at-bat of anybody all night long. Borges hangs in there tight, but finally goes down on our flamethrower, brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce. 93. Wong going for a game-tying homer there. Boy, that was a big swing for a second baseman. He's got 11 bombs, though, so you got to pitch him a little carefully.
Part of what Jim Day was talking about earlier, power coming from the infield on both of these clubs. Wong, Reynolds when he plays, Peralta double figures in home runs.
Well, you expect home run from the corner guys, but not so much from the keystone infielders, the shortstop and second baseman. Although there have been players over the years that have broken that mold. One traded from Colorado to Toronto, Troy Tulowitzki. Power hitting shortstop.
You know, when you think back years and years ago in baseball, the guy who really started that trend was the former Reds manager, Davey Johnson, the second baseman at Baltimore. And he had 40+ one year. Right at Suarez. And he throws out Wong, who is 0 for 4 tonight. So there are 2 men down.
Well, there are a lot of offers out there tonight because the Reds have 2 hits in 8 innings, and the Cardinals have 3 hits in 7 2/3. So a lot of horse collars to go around.
Reds have had one 1-0 win this year that came down in Miami right before the All-Star break. See, that's the answer to a trivia question. What you just said. You said there's been a lot of offers tonight, a lot of horse collars.
Sure.
You hear announcers say all the time he's wearing the collar tonight. He's 0 for whatever, and that's where that comes from.
Would be the horse collar, sure.
Yeah. Sometimes you get asked about what does that mean.
You sound like you have that baseball dictionary. I think is it Dickinson's baseball dictionary?
I don't know. I don't know what that is. I mean, I've heard that term though forever.
Interesting book if you're a baseball fan because it digs into the origin of a lot of those sayings like that.
Rubber game is another one, which this is tonight. Right?
Yeah. Although I don't know if that's particular to baseball. You can have a rubber game and a game of tennis, right? If you're playing a 3-set match or a
well, I think it can apply to
match.
any sport.
Yeah.
It could bounce. The game could bounce either way.
There's another one.
We'll start and end it with horse collar. How's that?
Fine with me.
Okay. the right field line. That's going to be extra bases for Carpenter. Jay gets it back in, but not in time. Carpenter gets the extra base hit. The Cardinals have the tying run in scoring position with 2 men out. 24th double of the year for Carpenter. That's tops on this Cardinal club. Now it's Mark Reynolds. In case you're wondering, is Chapman getting ready in the pen? He is not up at this moment.
J.J. Hoover has given up 1 home run total to the players on this St. Louis Cardinal roster, and it happens to be Mark Reynolds, who's in the batter's box.
He falls behind 2-0. Johnny Peralta is on deck. I'm sure there are those out there who are asking, why would Chapman not be up in this situation? 2 men out in the inning. He would, in effect, if he were to come into the game, need to pitch 1 1/3.
You're right. Well, we did hear at the very beginning of the year that we would see Chapman used in more than just the 3-out saves. That has not happened. Big pitch in this series here, and he goes with a breaking ball and catches the corner, and Reynolds is hot.
Mike Muchlinski has been given the high strike tonight, but not that low one. There's the high strike. Right about waist high. So from 2-0 to 2-2.
What's hard to believe is that Reynolds hasn't swung the bat yet. That he's seen 5 pitches and not wheeled down lumber. That's something that he usually comes out of the on-deck circle doing right away.
To Frazier. They get the out at first. They may have even gotten the out at third, but just to be sure, they threw across the diamond. Hoover survives. Big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And your local Toyota dealers, proud sponsor of the Cincinnati Reds. Take a look at tonight's DirecTV standings. Best records in Major League Baseball. Cardinals are 28 games above the 500 mark. The other team in this show me state, Kansas City, just 3 games behind them. World Series participant, of course, a year ago. And the Pirates out of the NL Central. Yankees leading the AL East. Angels right now leading the American League West Division. Best records in baseball, brought to you by DirecTV. New pitcher on is the very active Kevin Segrist.
Yeah, 46 is what he wears on his back, and he's had way more appearances than that already. He is a hard-throwing left-hander. And if you look at the 3 batters the Reds have scheduled in this inning, Phillips and then Votto and then Bruce, or make it Frazier and Bruce. I want to say that they're 0 for 25 or 1 for 25 against Kevin Segrist.
Segrist pitched the 8th inning here on Monday. Got Bruce Pena-Bird.
And that one hit was a single by Jay Bruce.
Segrist, in fact, leads the National League in appearances with this is 52nd. Lackey goes 8. 1 run, 2 hits, a walk, 8 strikeouts. Set down the final 11 he faced, and 17 of the last 18. The only blemish in there was the walk he issued to Brian Pena in the 5th. Reds have had 3 base runners tonight. The homer by Bruce, the bunt single by Hamilton, and the walk to Pena, that they will take at least a 1-0 lead into the bottom of the 9th. Smash and a hop by Phillips, but Peralta will throw him out. Remember this Saturday, see your Reds take on the Pirates for as low as $12. That's the day that the 25,000 fans who come to the ballpark in attendance will receive a Devin Mesoraco bobblehead presented by St. Elizabeth Healthcare. For tickets, you know the drill. 513-381-REDS. Select Kroger locations or Reds.com/tickets. Here's Votto. Barring extra innings, Votto's streak of reaching base at least twice in 15 straight games is going to come to an end. He's 0 for 3 tonight. 18 straight games of reaching base at all could end also. He struck out, grounded out, and struck out.
Well, the Reds have not had much in the way of offense. They've got 2 hits on the night. One was a bunt by Billy Hamilton. The other was a solo shot to center field by Jay Bruce, and that is it.
Chapman, by the way, is throwing now in the bullpen.
In fact, really very few balls hit into the outfield with any authority.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier, and it's really true. This series has been dominated by starting pitching. Both sides.
Well, really, the whole season has, which gives you the indication of what Joey Votto has done recently. And getting on base as much as he has is really even more incredible than it would normally be. But this is another year of the pitcher, where offense is very difficult to find. Home runs are down. Batting averages, for the most part, are down. Strikeouts are way up. That's having a pretty good month.
Votto takes ball 4, so his on-base streak will continue. He's now reached base in 19 straight games. He draws the 2nd walk by a Cardinal pitcher tonight. And that ends a stretch of 12 straight Reds that have been retired. Well, Frazier has an opportunity to add to this Reds lead. Hard toward left, but it's caught out there by Piscotty.
Boy, Piscotty looked like he was losing that ball in the lights, went after it at the very end in a very awkward manner. It's one of the harder hit balls we've seen all night from either team.
2 out for Bruce. He has supplied the only run of this game tonight. His solo shot to center field that started the second.
Really an amazing series when you connect it with the home runs that have been hit, and the scoring have really almost come completely from home runs. There have been no sustained rallies in this entire 3-game set.
Bruce drove in the only Reds run on Monday with a sac fly, the grand slam.
I guess we saw enough of sustained rallies in that 10-run third in Colorado.
Yeah.
That'll last you for a while.
All on the strike to Bruce. 1 for 3 tonight, 2 for 8 in the series. It's a home run here. It would be his 200th career long ball. Cardinal 9th inning will feature the middle of their order. Johnny Peralta, Jason Hayward, Yadier Molina, right-hander, left-hander, right-hander. Against Aroldis Chapman, who is ready in the bullpen. Now Votto will be on the move on this 3-2 pitch. Hit hard, but at the second baseman, who's deep onto the outfield grass. He'll make the play. Bruce is retired. Runner is stranded. Stage set now for the bottom of the ninth. Chapman into the game.
Fox Sports Ohio. Jim and Chris have talked about how pitching has dominated this series. However, it has been the long ball that has decided the games in this series so far. Monday, Colton Wong. Pitch Raisel Iglesias would like to have back. Grand slam home run. Cardinals win on that night. Then last night, part of a 4-0 victory for Cincinnati was Joey Votto's 3-run blast off of Jaime Garcia. And tonight, the only run in the game provided from the Beaumont bomber Jay Bruce got to John Lackey. And even though the Reds are being out-hit 4-2, that drive by Bruce right now is the difference in the game, and we'll see if the missile can hold on to this bad boy.
Yes, indeed. The Beaumont bomber has supplied the only run of this game, and now Aroldis Chapman, who is at 20 saves this year, at 133 in his career, 4th in the all-time saves list in Reds history behind Danny Graves, Francisco Coco Cordero, and John Franco. Franco 3rd at 148, Chapman at 133. He gets Peralta to lead it off. He'll be followed by Hayward and Molina. These three combined, lifetime 0 for 16 against Chapman. Suarez gets to it, plants, throws, nice scoop by Votto on the receiving end. Suarez didn't get quite enough on it that he had hoped, but Joey Votto, what a beautiful dig for the out.
Deep in the hole right there. Suarez had to both hurry the play and then plant his foot to make sure that he had enough on the throw. And he's got a strong arm, but he just aimed it a little bit low, and that was such a short hop. It was one of those simpler picks anyway by the first baseman Votto, but that's good D to start the inning off. Nothing like getting that leading lady.
Peralta 0 for 3 in this game. 0 for 11 in the series. Here's Jason Hayward. They're hitting 2 tonight plus a walk. Lefty-lefty matchup.
Now he's getting a little bit loose. I was wondering there when Chapman's fastball was hovering around 97 or so, and that last one at 101, that's a little bit more Chappy-like.
Hayward has actually done better this year against lefties than he has right-handers, but he said between the three of them, Peralta, Hayward, Molina, no hits against Chapman in their careers. Hayward 0 for 7 with 4 strikeouts. Got him looking. I mean, he painted the black over the outside part at the knees, and Hayward sent packing.
Well, I don't know how Jason Hayward would even turn to the umpire, Mike Buczynski, and say anything, because at that speed and at that location, he did not get a very good look at it.
2 out. And it's Yadier Molina. Molina was the final out of the game last night on a weak ground ball to Votto at first, ending the 4-0 win. Now here he is against Chapman tonight. Chapman trying to protect a 1-0 lead. How about that off-speed pitch and a swing and a miss? 1 ball, 1 strike. Peralta grounded out. Hayward took a called third strike. Molina takes strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Randall Grichuk waits on deck. Lone run of this game, the Bruce solo shot in the second. Molina hangs in there.
.102, that last fastball. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that makes a manager drool, especially the opposing manager, when you see Chapman on the mound.
Big man ready again. Got him. Reds win. And the streak is over at 9 consecutive series in St. Louis in which the Reds failed to win over here. They take 2 out of 3, win their first series in St. Louis since early September of 2011 as they win it in shutout fashion tonight, 1-0, and blank the Cardinals for 22 consecutive innings. And how about this? The first time shutting out the Cardinals at St. Louis in 2 consecutive games in a series since July of 1937. That's going back a ways.
Well, this is a really good series the Reds had. Doesn't matter at this point for them how many games they are out of first place in this division. What matters is how they played the last 3 ball games. Very tough games. The first one could have gone another way. But the Reds play in some low-scoring games in a place where this team has more wins than any other team.